perfect outcome to all things is assured. Yeah, perfect outcome to all things is assured. Yeah, I'm getting stronger every day because my faith leads the way. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. In every situation, there's a blessing somewhere. Come gather, brothers and sisters, and we'll see that it is there. Ooh, I need you, you need me. Yes, you do. And that's how our happiness is guaranteed. Take it, boys.
And now, in all your doings, be you blessed. Through you is ushered in a world unseen, unheard, yet truly there. Holy are you, and in your light, the world reflects your holiness. For you are not alone and friendless. I give thanks for you and join your efforts on behalf of God, knowing that they are on my behalf as well, and for all those who walk to God with us.
Let's
walk to God.
To all things.
Take my hand. Walk to God.
A perfect outcome to all things is assured. I'm getting stronger every day because my faith leads the way. A perfect outcome to all things is assured. A perfect outcome to all things, yeah, is assured.
Wee doggy!
Doggies!
All right. It has to happen. The tradition is you shout "wee doggies" at the end of that. It's been that way forever. I don't know.
It's our tradition. Cheers! Cheers, everybody! I hope you're having a nice, cool
hillbilly
drink
Kool-Aid.
today.
Oh no, staying cool. I hope everybody's, everybody holds up your fresh beverages. That's right.
We like to make our red sorrel tea. It's just what we live on.
Sorrel tea, elderberry, and tamarind is actually what we do, and all those red things,
Yeah,
so
really
today's
good.
color,
Is
of course, is red. Well, yeah, and look at
look at
the
that.
colors are actually on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether you have the opportunity to do this, but everybody got this subtle message today, and we are all in the colors today. We all saw that. I do feel like I'm going to be crawling back into the mystery machine. Later.
Oh, you mean Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo with my ass, I feel like, me and Scooby are going to go solve some mysteries later with the gang,
Your Scooby-Doo ascot. Yay, Inca's here! We're so glad you're here. And Shauna, thanks so much for adminning today. I really appreciate it. And
It takes a village.
Arizona and Tika are here.
I know.
So, thanks everybody, and thanks everybody on the radio, and everybody that may be watching this on YouTube later. We are so excited. We have a lot to share with you. So, and we're going to do something a little new. But first, I think we should do the sing-along.
Oh.
I think we should do the sing-along first.
Well, because we were inspired by the message.
We sure were this morning,
today.
Yeah, for sure.
And because that is going to be what you got it.
Yep.
That is going to be kind of what my message is going to be on later today. It's this not what we're going to dip into a little bit about what knowledge is, and the knowledge how knowledge the goal of knowledge is so that you take action. Right? You need to get to knowledge so when you know better, you do better. Right? So then your life changes, and then your life goes, oh wow, this stuff really works. I'm gonna pay more attention, huh? And then you start a ball rolling that you can't unroll, and suddenly you're enlightened, and you're looking behind you going, how did I get here? How did I really get here? Everything's okay. Oh my God. You know, everything's
really
finally
is.
okay, and I didn't really do it. I just paid attention and made better choices.
Yeah.
Right? It got better, but I didn't really do it. It
Yeah.
got better because I made better choices and I could see what things really were. So we're going to talk about that and how knowledge plays into that. I love that lesson.
Oh look, Rana and
Here we go.
Marisol have joined us.
The gang
We're
is
happy.
arriving.
We're so happy you're here.
I know, so happy that you have joined us.
All right, so
So it inspired this song. We thought about all, you know, because we're going to be, if you're joining us today, we're at the top of the mountain. We're at the peak. This is peak Course in Miracles. Last week and this week are peak Course in Miracles. You're at the top of the, where we want to find out what is ours to do. Who are you, and what is yours to do?
Yay.
You know, what do you have endless energy is? It'll be an expression of who you are.
Truly.
So that realization is, we come around to this every year because we ask that question every year: what is mine to do? Who am I, and what is mine to do? It's kind of the same question, kind of the same answer. So we look into that every year because we arrive at the question from a different place every year, don't you? Are you the same person you were last year?
No,
You know, or the year
actually,
before?
no.
You know, thank God that 9-year-old girl turned into a 12-year-old girl, turned into a 25. You know, it's like God, you glad we grow and you grow, because otherwise, you know, you don't. You know.
Well, we keep growing. We keep looking inside.
I know. I've known some 9-year-old boys
you
in
know.
50-year-old bodies. Have you known 9-year-old boys in 50-year-old bodies? I have. You know. So you don't have to grow up. Your body's going to keep aging, but you don't have to grow up. You don't have to learn. You don't have to change. How about that? You know, but do you want to? Do you want the happiness that everybody says is that she feels like? Why do we feel so unsatisfied? Why is this this ennui? We talked about existential. There's a little bit about what existential fear was today. That was a really good discussion.
Yay! So Arizona puts in the chat, Lego. Do you mean like Lego building blocks, Arizona? Is that what you're talking about? Oh. So Arizona, even at her age, likes to play with the Lego building blocks. Of course. Why wouldn't you? They're fun.
We carry all those people within us. They never go, because we understand we don't lose a 9-year-old's perspective because we aren't 9 anymore. All those people are still available to each one of us.
And look what's descending into
I know. But see what happens. What perspective do you have when you're on the top of the world?
So that introduces our sing-along. Oh, that's much better. Okay, could you give me the words?
Yes,
there,
I will.
sweetie? Here we go. Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in most everything I see. Not a cloud in the sky, got the sun in my eyes, and I won't be surprised if it's a dream. Everything I want the world to be is now coming true, especially for me. And the reason is clear, it's because you are here. You're the nearest thing to heaven that I see. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top of the world.
Something.
I just like this second verse. It's really good. Here we go. Second verse. 1, 2,
Something.
ready, and something in the wind has learned my name, and it's telling me that things are not the same. There's a pleasing sense of happiness for me. There is only one thing on my mind. When this day is through, I hope that I will find that tomorrow will be just the same for you and me. All I need will be mine if you are here. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love puts me at the top of the world. Your love puts me at the top of the world.
Yay!
Thanks
I
for
know.
singing, y'all. I'm
Remember
so
that?
glad you took it. Marisol's waving.
I know. I always
Rhonda,
get
thank
weepy
you
at
for
that
the
song. I
heart.
love that song.
Oh, I love that song too. It's just so fun. It's perfect for today's message because your image for the booklet that you make every week
Yeah.
was a Sherpa, a guide, taking people up the mountain. So it's
Through
really
the
cool.
through the uncharted, I've been here before. I can take you the easy route. Oh, you want to go the hard route? You want to go the easy route? Which route do you want to? Which route you want to go up? I know the fastest way. I know the safest way. So whichever you want.
Sometimes we like a detour now, don't we?
I know. Oh, I don't know. Spice it up for me, Sherpa. Just spice it up for me.
Sometimes we want a little detour.
We spice it up. And it goes, oh, I want to sit here for a while.
Yeah.
And feel sorry for myself, maybe.
Right. Well, that's one of my tricks.
Yes.
But today we're not employing that trick.
No, we're going to see through the clouds.
We're going to see through the clouds. So one thing I wanted to do, which is a little different from our usual, is I want to read you a storybook. So let's go back to this room. Thank you. So I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I don't remember, but we were in the sanctuary and somebody mentioned that Rupert Spira wrote a children's book. Do y'all remember that? So we immediately ordered it because, I know I've told you many times that I work with an organization called Drag Story Hour, and we read children's books.
Promote literacy in school.
Yeah, we help kids read.
Reading is fun.
Yeah, reading is fun. So we immediately
controversial.
ordered this book, and it came in. Yay! I know, I'm so excited. So So for our meditation today, I'm gonna read this book to you. It's not that long. It's really, really cute. I love children's books, and I hope it brings a little joy to you. And it's so exciting that it's by Rupert Spira.
I am always
that.
I.
Yeah, it's called I Am Always I. There we go. Interesting, huh? All right, so let's breathe. I'll ring the bell, and we'll breathe, and we'll om on the last breath.
Set an intention.
Yeah, just to know that we are loved, that we are always who we truly are. So here we go. Such a joy to be here today in the Awakening Together Sanctuary, co-creating with you once again this wonderful circle of unconditional love. This unconditional love that we co-create is always in our hearts. It's always here. And we express it today by accepting everything in our lives that we like and everything in our lives that we do not like. Throughout everything, we know that we are always the divine expression of God in human form. And that is what we truly are. So with great pleasure, I share Rupert Spire's book, I Am Always I. Blessed be. And so it is. All right.
Step back a little bit.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. I am always I. I am not always happy. I don't always feel free. I am not always lonely. But I am always me.
Okay.
I'm gonna take that off.
Yep.
I am not always naughty. That means that sometimes I am, I guess. I don't often feel shy. And Lordy, if you know me, you know that's true. I don't often feel shy. Oh, she is wearing red. Yeah. She had a little red thing on. I am not always hungry. Well, actually, in my case, I pretty much am always hungry. So is Zinka. But I am always I. Aw, look at that cute. That's cute. I love those little eyes. Okay. I am not always sleepy, except in the summertime when it's 95 degrees for 4 days on end. Oh my god. I don't often cry.
And that's a gorgeous.
It is. I hope you can see it.
It's so that the watercolors in this are just sublime.
They
the
are.
watercolors are sublime in this book. They really, really are. This is a good example of just how really beautiful.
There's a little ship over here. It's kind of pastel, so it may be hard to see, but it really is beautiful.
The ocean of her tears.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's the ocean of her tears. So I don't often cry, but I am always I.
And she goes into the ocean. She's now looking at the ship at the bottom of the ocean. The ship that was there. It's really very, very cool what the ship does. It goes to the bottom of, and she sees the ship sink and goes to the bottom of the ocean. But she doesn't sink or go to the bottom of the ocean. She sees it all. That's swimming.
So cool. I love that. Okay. Okay. I am not always nice. Truly. Now, I was raised to be always nice, but however, it doesn't always work. I don't always try. I'm not always nice, and I don't always try.
How honest is that?
That's very honest. I love that.
Permission. We were talking about that.
Yes.
Permissions. To give yourself permission to be wherever you are.
I am sometimes forgetful, but I am always I. Oh, just what you were talking about. Once I was 2. Yeah, once I was 2. For a while I was 3. I am not always 4. But I am always me. Woohoo! I know, that's so funny. I love it. All right. Oh, what a great drawing. Sometimes I'm lazy, but I don't ever lie. I feel like that for the last 4 days. I've just been kind of going, woo, because it's so hot over here. Sometimes I'm lazy, but I don't ever lie. I am not always cheerful, but I am always I. Aww.
Gorgeous. Show, put it
Oh,
back.
this one? Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Like I said, it's kind of pastel, so it's a little hard to see, but
This pencil and watercolor
it's very
is
beautiful.
It's,
Oh, look. I am not always right. Well, how about that? I thought I was always right. Didn't you think you were always right? It is sweet. Thank you, Inka. I'm not always right, but I do what I can. Carrying a little umbrella. I may not be perfect, but I am what I am.
another full color watercolor.
It's so pretty. I am what I am. I am what I am, and what I am needs no excuses. Oh, everything changes. Here comes a puppy.
Everything changed.
Hey, George, we're reading a book. We're reading a kid's book.
By Rupert Spira.
By Rupert Spira. Everything changes. So what can I be? So what can I be?
I cannot be.
I cannot be
And
anything.
the footprints, and there are all kinds of footprints, boots, and all kinds of stuff.
I cannot be anything, but I am always me. Yeah. And that's it.
I know.
Yay. Thank you, Rupert Spira. Wasn't that fun?
We were talking about that too. There's only one message, I guess, really. It's okay to be it's okay to be who you are and where you are, because that's what's happening.
Wait. Just really quickly. I should have done this at the beginning.
What?
Hey everybody, and welcome to Awakening Together Story Time. Hey everybody, and welcome to Awakening Together Story Hour.
That's how she starts her book.
That's
her
what I
book
do when I
reading
read
club.
for the kids. Yeah.
Hey everybody.
Then it'll be, a different place at the library or wherever. So yay! Thanks for doing that with me, y'all.
Well, if you're following along in A Course in Miracles, and I know you are because you're fantastic course students, like me, you read it every year. You can't wait to dive in and get busy with these 2.5 pages or whatever we do every week. I know, and I appreciate it.
However, I do want to say that Glen does make a booklet every week because we have a Wednesday night class, and if you want to come check out our class,
Or just get the booklet.
just get the booklet, you can just get the booklet. Email me, Yolanda at yolanda.net.
So this is what I call the Sherpa message you've been hearing me. So there's the picture of the Sherpa guiding up the mountain. The little article that what happens to your body. Well, when you go up, you have to prepare. Sometimes you have to prepare. You have to be of mental health and good physical health, and you need. It isn't just like take me up the mountain or anything. You have to make a commitment. You have to know, and you have to train and things like that. So that's what we do in spirituality, right?
We do.
George was talking about going on a silent retreat.
Yeah.
Or we go retreat and we come back so we can do these things better. Right? we practice. We even practice on each other, right? To get better at doing these things. That's kind of the idea with Yeah, the Popeye.
Yeah, she said.
I love
Rhoda
Popeye.
said, "Popeye,
Yeah.
I am what I am."
I am what I am. So chapter 18 is what I call the mountain peak, and she even uses the mountain metaphor, going through the clouds to the top, to the peak of the mountain, so that you can see clearly. And in this chapter is the passing of the dream. The dream are the clouds. The dream, and in this last section, the peak of A Course in Miracles, no accident, is called the two worlds, because they really want you to get to be able to see what you're choosing between, right? To be able to, if you could see starkly, because that's what it says in the beginning, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So it's always picking out what it's always like, that's not what's real. I don't need to worry about that. That's already, I don't have the levers aren't there for me to control any of that. Welcome, Phil.
Oh, Phil's
Thanks,
here.
Phil.
Hey, Phil.
So we're trying to get to a place where we can see where we don't want to be. Often that's where we've been. So we know it really well, and we often can't see another way of doing it. What do you think I'm doing here? I got here because this is the best I can do, right? It's like, that is willingness to see things as they are. If you can know what you don't want, half the time you can figure out what you do want. And that's where she starts here. The two worlds, and of course wants to describe these two worlds first, and then move on. So we got 14 paragraphs. I love this
You're not
section.
gonna read every
We're not
one.
going to read every single one. I'm going to highlight this for you. We're going to move through the concepts so you can walk away with some real tools.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, here we are. Okay, so we're in, if you're reading along, we are in A Course in Miracles, chapter 18, the passing of the dream, section 9. It's called the two worlds, and we're going to start on paragraph 1. You have been told to bring the darkness to the light and guilt to holiness. And you have also been told that error must be corrected at its source. Therefore, it is the tiny part of yourself, the little thought that seems split off and separate. That part is what the Holy Spirit needs. It thinks it is the Son of God, whole and omnipotent, sole ruler of the kingdom. It's set apart to tyrannize by madness into obedience and slavery. Within its barricades is still a tiny segment of the Son of God, complete and holy, serene and unaware of what you think surrounds it. But this part that is not really us, it says its bleak sight is distorted, and the messages it transmits to you, who made it to limit your awareness, are little and limited, and so fragmented they are meaningless.
All right. That is the first two paragraphs. Okay? She's the description. See if this world doesn't spring. So she gives you method that you should be already using. This holy instant. Bringing darkness to the light. Bringing guilt to holiness. Error is corrected at its source. We've been talking about this for like a very long time. She reminds you, says, if you're using these use these, you'll be able to see this little withered kingdom. She uses this little withered kingdom and its little withered ruler very, very, very clearly. And the method is one we're even familiar with. Asatoma sad gamaya, tamasoma jyotir gamaya, rit yorma amritam gamaya. Shanti Shanti, lead us from darkness to the light. This is a long way of saying nothing real can be threatened, nothing real exists, and here lies the peace of God.
Right.
She calls the ego delusional thought. Okay, the ego as delusional thought. It's a split off and separate me. It's tiny and delusional. It's the part of me that wants to tyrannize the world into obedience and slavery. Okay, and it's the idea is I've stole something from God. Now, the stole from God is a little weird way of saying it. It just means that I want a separate agenda that I don't want to clue God in on, and I don't want God to stop me from having. Like, that I think God's out here stopping me from having this world I want to have. It's like, if it wasn't for that, that God messing things up, we would have got away with it. My friend, we get into the Mystery Machine character, but it's like, that's what the you think you stole something from, because we have a separate agenda. I don't want to do what. It's the whole Jonah and Nineveh story. I'd rather go get partially eaten, partially digested by a whale than do what's mine to do on this planet.
Funny.
Wow. So that's what they're very. We've been talking about, human beings has been talking about this dilemma for a very, very, very long time. And see if it creates this view of the world, this concept that we carry around when they call ourselves this delusional world, this separate world, this withered kingdom, is surrounded by darkness, is guarded by attack, reinforced by hate. The feeling tone is barren sands, right? The life has been sucked out of it, lifeless, unaware of what surrounds it. Narcissist, one folk is just like, and it limits awareness and it limits meaning. Okay, that's a lot of the world. That's just a lot of what we call the real world. She's going to go on, but it goes. Give this tiny delusional ego to God. Give that part of you that thinks that she has to manage this world, this crazy world, to God. That thinks it's our job to manage this crazy illusional world. Give that to God, because that's the part we think is real. That's how the ego gets created. Okay, keep going.
I just want to remind folks that
you can certainly interrupt me.
Yeah,
I talk fast, but I'm also pretty polite.
All right, let's go to the next section. From the world. This is starting on paragraph 3. From the world of bodies made by insanity, insane messages seem to be returned to the mind that made it. If you are willing to follow the Holy Spirit through seeming terror, trusting Him not to abandon you and leave you there, God can bring you through all of your craziness.
She calls this a ring of fear.
Yeah. Which is interesting, because I do my prayer as the circle of love, and what does the Course say? You can only choose between love and fear, which is really interesting. So in the
circle of love or the ring of fear?
The ring of, well, she calls it circle of fear right here. Yeah. So in paragraph 4,
circle of fear,
it starts with, the circle of fear lies just below the level the body sees, and seems to be the whole foundation on which the world is based. Clues. Here are all the illusions, all the twisted thoughts, all the insane attacks, the fury, the vengeance, and betrayal that were made to keep the guilt in place.
You see it.
It's just that little fear that hides right under everything. The body cannot see this.
It isn't the body.
Right. The body will remain guilt's messenger and will act as it directs as long as you believe that guilt is real. For the reality of guilt is the illusion that seems to make it heavy and opaque, impenetrable, and a real foundation for the ego's thought system. Its thinness and transparency are not apparent until you see the light behind it. And then you see it as a fragile veil before the light.
Okay. Do you see the message? Our beliefs, our erroneous, automated, reactionary belief systems are creating this messengers from the circle of fear, is paraphrase what she just said. And we were joking around on Wednesdays, because this is, see if you can recognize, the world of bodies. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the world of bodies, brought to you by guilt. It's like, oh wow, it's like that is exactly what is happening when we turn. So see if this doesn't sound like the next great hit on Netflix. The world of bodies, brought to you by guilt. Insane messages, then outward and surfaced focused. Its main character is a little withered ruler. Works with illusions and twisted thoughts and insane attacks, full of fury. It has everything. Fury, vengeance, betrayal. And it keeps the guilt in place. It brings despair and loneliness. It is joyless. It uses the body not as an expressive, but as a heavy covering. It uses the body, and everything is manufactured around for the protection and glorification of the material. The protection for the body, the world, your body is all material things. So the protection for the world, for the material things, is paramount. As opposed to this mad idea in the middle of it that thinks it's surrounded by all this and all of this is real. She goes, you have a Waheguru, you've got an inner teacher, this guide, this Holy Spirit that is reliable. This is why it's the Sherpa. You've got a Sherpa that can lead you to the real world. It's bodiless and sightless and speechless. If you're willing to look, you'll see the light beyond and it looks like a veil that you can now walk through. We see it for what we see, the royal world, through the illusions of our reactionary mind.
Right. Yeah.
And that's worth doing. And the way we do it is, she said in the first paragraph, is by being in the moment, bringing darkness to the light, bringing guilt to holiness, errors corrected, and it starts working and doing these things, creates these changes in our lives. So now we're going to move. So, and it is in body. We do experience this in a body, and we're using and even misunderstanding how the body is to be used in this authentic expression of the love of God. We're even excluding that and calling it us, when it's really, when all this is, like I say all the time, all this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, and it's supposed to be art, you know. So keep going.
I will. How's everybody doing in the room? Anybody got anything they want to say?
Great.
Everybody's okay? All right, here we go. We'll go
Halfway
back.
through.
All right,
Good.
let's go back. Okay, paragraph 6. This heavy-seeming barrier, this artificial floor that looks like rock, is like a bank of low, dark clouds that seem to be a solid wall before the sun. Its impenetrable appearance is wholly an illusion. It gives way softly to the mountaintops that rise above it. I love that metaphor
Image.
there, that
Yeah.
image right there, yeah, because another place in the course she does a whole meditation where she actually leads you through these clouds and goes up through the clouds into the sunlight. So anyway, right here she says, yet in this cloud bank it is easy to see a whole world rising.
Yeah. So
Figures stand out and move about, actions seem real, and forms appear and shift from loveliness to the grotesque, and back and forth they go, as long as you would play the game of children's make-believe, which is why I read you a little children's story. So should it be with the dark clouds of guilt, no more impenetrable and no more substantial. You will not bruise yourself against them in traveling through. Let your guide teach you their unsubstantial nature as he leads you past them.
past these clouds of guilt, she literally calls a child's imagining. So it's not even any more real than the story than we tell ourselves.
Right.
The I can't do it, or this isn't my, is even that thin. And the request is, let your guide lead you past them.
Keep walking.
Yeah. We have all kinds of guides, you know, if you're paying attention.
We do.
Right. That's the deal, though. To believe that you have the attention, that it's yours to do, that it's possible, your willingness, you have the I am, you're here. Well, what else? Are you busy? Are you doing anything else? Because this, like we were talking about, we said in the message earlier today, this has to be lifestyle. This has to be like an orientation, or the way that I am, the way you experience me. You experience I am. So I love it when the Course does this, and by this I mean creates this poetry, this little section of poetry, when the Course tells you how to do this. They give you this method and examples of it. So I'm going to read this to you. This world of light, this circle of brightness, is the real world, where guilt meets forgiveness. Here, the world outside is seen anew without shadow of guilt upon it. Here is the new perception, where everything is bright and shining with innocence, washed in the waters of forgiveness and cleansed of every evil thought that she laid upon it. Here is no attack upon the Son of God, and you are welcome. Here is your innocence. You're waiting to clothe and to protect you, to make you ready for the final step in the journey inward. Here are the dark and heavy garments of guilt laid by and gently replaced by purity and love. Where do you think she wants you to be? Where do you think the Course is trying to get us to be comfortable in? Here, this really powerful here that we create because we have awareness, because we're the I am. So we're going to get into why this is so satisfying, how forgiveness, like I want something different to happen, and the forgiveness says, maybe I don't know what anything is for. I'm going to let, the whole thing, I'm going to let my oneness decide what we're going to be doing and not pick apart my little part of it, right? So that's where I'm going to approach. Can I live? What does it mean to bodily, physically, live from that space? And what would happen in a body? She's going to talk about that.
Interesting.
So I'll just wrap this up. Yeah, even forgiveness is not the end. Forgiveness does make lovely, but it doesn't create. See, that's where we're going. We're going to creation, because that's what we mostly are. What do we say mostly God is?
The
creator.
Creativity.
So what do you think your best what do you think your talent that you get from your dad is?
Creative ability.
Right. So here you are led that God himself can take the final step. What we always say is, just get to the gate, God will snatch you in.
That's what Helen said.
That's what Helen said. Here, I'm paraphrasing, of course. Here is the source of light. Nothing perceived, forgotten, or transformed. See? We think that it's going to be transformed before our eyes. The bush is going to be burning or something like that. No. We just finally see it as alive. We just finally really saw the bush. I finally saw a bush. That's what I think happened. Opened his eyes and he just saw what it really was. That it was, that could be. It's one way of understanding it. Here is the source of light, nothing perceived, forgotten, or transformed. It doesn't have to transform. Reality doesn't have to transform. Our perception of it does. But here's the good part. It's merely known. Oh, now I know. And what happens when you know? You do better. You make different decisions if you know better. Here is the circle of brightness as opposed to this circle of fear. Here. Here. World seen anew, world without guilt, new perception, bright and shiny, world of innocence, washed in the waters of forgiveness, cleansed of evil that I brought. Closed and protect. It makes you ready. It feels like purity and love. It takes care of our body and our place in society. It clothes and protects us. The method is forgiveness by letting things be as they are, because reality will take the final step, because that's mostly what we are, because we're investing it in places where it doesn't do any good. So when we pull away that investment in ourselves as things, then of course the awareness rushes in to fill it, because that's what it's always been. We have to not do it. We have to look away. We have to physically desire to look away. And the discovery is the light that we're trying to avoid is within us. The light that makes us feel so uncomfortable and loved, and we can't get enough of and don't want ever to see again, because it's so us. It's so the only thing that is meaningful and satisfying, and we're going to get swallowed up in it. Well, it won't be me if I let go into God. What God's trying to say is, this is never going to be God. You don't have to let go of Glen into God. Glen's never going to be part of God. So I can let go of the agenda for Glen. because God even knows how to take care of that. Or Holy Spirit, or the Sherpa can lead me through the clouds where I think Glen needs to manage this thing. And it'll turn out better if I let the Sherpa lead me through the clouds. So keep going. Paragraph 11.
Very cool.
Is that cool?
Yeah, this is really, really
I really love this. Can you tell I love chapter 18? I bet you can't tell I love chapter 18.
All right, so now we're on paragraph 11. We need remember only that whoever attains the real world, beyond which learning cannot go, will go beyond it, but in a different way. Where learning ends, there God begins.
Where do you want to be?
Well, that makes so much sense to me now. It didn't in when I first read it, I guess a few years ago.
I know.
But this one sentence, where learning ends, there God begins, makes so much sense, because it's not about learning. It's about remembering and letting go of the learning that I think I know about, you know. So that makes me, now I really get that and practice that.
See, what I often characterize it as a performance versus expression.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
you can tell a performance versus somebody express it. You know, someone sharing something.
That's true. Okay. Then it goes on to say the readiness for knowledge still must be attained. And then we say what the Course says at the very beginning, really. Love is not learned. Its meaning...
Nothing that can be taught.
Yeah, it can be taught. Love is not learned. Its meaning lies within itself, and learning ends when you have recognized all it is not. That is the interference. That is what needs to be undone, aka your learning.
All the way things that you think that the agenda that it's got to be, even who Glen's supposed to be, or needs to happen, or all of it.
All of it, because
all
the next line says, everything you learned is meaningless, replaced forever by the knowledge of love and its one meaning.
It's useful. See, that desire that to care about your performance, the desire to care about how this body works, moves through space, is something that is holy. From knowledge to authenticity. This is so to come from a place and to walk around not as a learning but as a doing, as a God doing, as a God being. Where learning begins, I am no longer learning who Glen is. I am letting God have Glen to express through.
Yeah.
And Glen's happier.
Yeah.
So God begins where learning ends. It is the creative flow of what is and how I experience it. The request is for really a beginner's mind. It's the readiness for knowledge. Like, I don't have my mind made up about how everything's got to be all the time. I'm just not going to lock down my mind on the way it's got to be, or I need to feel, or the way things are, even the directions what's going. Meaning isn't learned. It isn't even inherent. It has to do with relationships. It has to do with the relationship to everything. I say all the time, a knife, a scalpel in the hand of a thief versus a scalpel in the hand of a doctor. I mean, it's not the scalpel.
You can use it different ways. Yeah.
So learning is the removal of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. It's useful to learn that stuff. Useful to learn where your triggers are, where your blocks are, where our own sticky places are. That's what community is for. That's why we're in relationship with all beings. Keep going. 13, paragraph 13 and 14. This is marvelous. There's like in these two paragraphs, there's like two sentences that aren't highlighted.
Oh, Inca has a question.
Sure.
Inca has something.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Inca.
I didn't have so much a question as an observation.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
that's what all teachings are,
Yeah.
is to let go of our own knowledge, quote unquote, and have an empty mind. Because if I don't have an empty mind, I cannot hear and I cannot be that which I want to be. So I think that's just a really nice way of saying it.
Oh, absolutely. It's really true. And I didn't know that at the beginning of my journey, conscious journey.
Oh, I didn't either. Yeah.
It's something I'm now really super realizing. Yeah. Thank you, Inko.
It's the method is to become present to it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm doing that thing again, or whatever, or or whatever again. You go, oh, that is a habit. I'm just like I'm on remote control or whatever like that. And you go, that's the process. That's really is the process. We have we do store trauma in our bodies.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we do have often a learning journey with our own bodies and the way we've treated them. The famous story is Adyashanti had to have knee surgery after he had his big awakening, and people are like going, "You're awakened. Why are you having knee surgery? What the? You're awakening." He goes, "Well, I was really, really, really mean to myself for years and years and years and years and years. So now I have a broken now I have knee surgery. I did that, but yeah." I still got the. I didn't change bodies or change the consequences of the physical. It's just like it doesn't. We step outside of that paradigm. The paradigm becomes visible as the little withered world, and we go, "Oh my God! I just want to be king of this little withered world. I just really, 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 really want to be king of this little tiny withered world." Keep going. Paragraphs 13 and 14.
Yeah. Okay, last two paragraphs.
We've got 7 minutes.
Your relationship with your brother has been uprooted from the world of shadows, and its unholy purpose has been safely brought through the barriers of guilt, washed with forgiveness, and set shining and firmly rooted in the world of light. Yes, that's where we are.
You've been washed twice now.
Washed. The holy instant in which you were united is but the messenger of love. So every time Glen was going here, I know you know this, but it just reminded me of, the holy instant. What the Course says is the holy instant. Here is here. The holy instant which you were united is but the messenger of love. Oh, I also want to mention that I think Joanne talked about this too this morning, where she was talking about the moment, like being in the moment as, like it's one continuous moment. I don't know if I'm sharing this exactly the way she did, but what I've noticed lately is I'm in the moment here, and then 3 hours from now I'm still in the moment, right? So it's fascinating to me. I'm like, oh, it's one continuous
That's what Holy Spirit calls creation.
Yeah.
That's the experience of creation, and you must be joining in the joint, willing to participate in the moment. You have to willing to be in it without conditions, and that's feels a lot like melting in fear to a lot of people. To join, it feels like you're losing something.
Yeah. Okay. The holy instant in which you were united is but the messenger of love. It is through forgiveness that it will be remembered. And when the memory of God has come to you in the holy place of forgiveness, you will remember nothing else, and memory will be as useless as learning, for your only purpose will be creating.
The next moment.
Yes, the next moment, yeah. This you cannot know until every perception has been cleansed and purified and finally removed forever.
Cleansed and purified.
Forgiveness removes only the untrue, lifting the shadows from the world and carrying it safe and sure within its gentleness to the bright world of new and clean perception.
We're getting washed today. Washed clean.
I feel clean. There is your purpose now, and it is there that peace awaits you.
Okay, the holy instant through forgiveness. She says, there's a bright new world of light there. It's cleansed of my own silly perceptions. It's cleansed by relationship. It's because everybody's here. Everybody's here, melting into oneness.
All right. Everybody here.
So cleansed by relationships, and the reminder is its only purpose is creating. That's the default setting of joy that creates. The project is to bring all things to the guide for purification. That's the That's kind of the day-to-day of it all. right? Peace awaits. Peace awaits this process of purification. And we'll probably go through it a couple of times, or continually in little ways. But there'll probably be a big purification once you really get through the mountain. You see this, you see what is yours to do, and then you gotta let some stuff go if you can do it. Guilt keeps us from our authentic selves, I wrote. We decide to rule a withered little kingdom of make-believe instead. This distorts the world we see and causes all kinds of suffering and illusions. The path to our own happiness has been hijacked by our ego. Our happiness is now limited, little, and weak. We're locked up in this loop of experience. It's the paradigm of the material world. The only remedy is forgiveness. That means like allowing things to be as they are and letting go of the world's, the ego's, meaning-making skills. Forgiveness is the fastest way to the holy instance. It's where we find what is ours to do. It always involves being in a relationship with others and creating a world of the conscious experience of the love of God, which we are. It can't be taught. Our authenticity awaits.
Yeah.
I'm Reverend Glen Ganaway, your favorite anarchist preacher, and this is the love of my life, Reverend Yolanda, and I am so grateful for your practice. You make it all possible. Because
I really am grateful for your practice too. Oh, thank you, Marisol. Thank you very much. I am so grateful for this practice community. We learn so much, and we unlearn so much.
right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
You bet.
All right, everybody, stay
we're gonna
tuned
release the
for
mic.
Enlightened Leadership, and we release the mic. Thank you for being here.